All right. Well, I'm here today with Rick Wilmer, the CEO of ChargePoint. ChargePoint's one of the largest EV charging infrastructure companies in the world. They have a huge presence here in the US. And Rick's here to talk about a huge announcement, but number two, some new technology that ChargePoint is going to be introducing just today that I think a lot of people are going to be really interested in. So first, Rick, thanks for coming on State of Charge. I appreciate you coming here. And why don't we jump into the fact that you guys just surpassed the 1 million charge point plateau. Let's talk about that first.
Yeah, well, first off, Tom, thanks for having me. It's good to see you again. It's been a while since we've talked, and I really appreciate having the chance to talk with you and your followers. So on the million charge ports available, that's just a big, nice round number. That's quite a big milestone, and I think it just speaks to the proliferation of our technology, both ports that we built that are on our hardware, as well as all of our roaming partners. And it just speaks to the accessibility that's becoming available for drivers, to find good places to charge when they need to. So we're really excited to cross that big round number milestone, and we're anxious to put another zero on that. And when you see industries grow, oftentimes you'll see them hit a big milestone like this, and then takes a lot less time to put another zero on that number and get to 10 million ports. And we're really excited to keep driving forward and take this concern about the availability of EV chargers away, as a concern that makes people, perhaps uncertain about adopting an EV.
Yeah. So to be clear, does this include, say, your home charging points, like the ChargePoint Hom Flex, which I have one on the wall behind me over here,
No,
and it doesn't include, that's public charge points.
correct. Exactly right.
Okay, that's a good number, and I'm sure you've got a lot of the ChargePoint Home Flexes out there. You were an early mover in this space,
Hmm.
and I've had a few of them, and they seem to always make my best charger of the year lists when I do my annual reviews. You're on it again this year. Congratulations on that. It's a really solid unit, and now that you have it available in both NACS and J1772, pretty much any electric vehicle owner can use it without the need of an adapter, which we're going to be talking about really
There we
soon.
are. Yeah, one
But
one one other point on that, Tom, is
yeah,
if you are a ChargePoint Home Flex user with a CCS1 connector and you happen to drive a car with a NACS, not only do we have the new one available, but you can buy an upgrade cable for your existing one. So we're very much a big believer in modular designs. That we do that for a number of reasons, but one is to make this upgrade, an upgrade like this, easy, but also to keep repair costs down.
sure. And to be clear, you meant J1772, not
Correct.
CCS1. And
Exactly. Sorry about that.
listen, that's okay, because we're going to be talking about CCS1 in a minute. So I can understand why your mind might have wandered.
Yeah, I
And
just walked out of a meeting on a big deal that was all DC with CCS1 connectors.
yeah, well, it's good to hear that you're getting more into the DC space. We need more AC and DC, but we really
Mhm.
need DC fast chargers to enable long distance travel. And it's interesting that you mentioned that, because I have already ordered. I have one of your replacement cables that you swap out. I have it here in the garage, and I'm going to make a video on that, like telling
Good.
people, look, if you have the ChargePoint Home Flex, you can swap it out and add an axe if you want to change over to that. So I'm going to have a video for those interested on my channel here about how to swap it out pretty soon. Now, one last thing before we go to the really big news that you guys are announcing here today. Could we talk a little bit about ChargePoint's business model? Because
Mhm.
you do things a little differently than some of the other networks like Electrify America or EVgo, whereas all of their sites, they own and operate the equipment.
Mhm.
What I get a lot of sometimes is a follower will call me up and say, "Hey Tom, I know you know these guys at ChargePoint. Can you reach out to them? There's a level 2 ChargePoint charger
Mhm.
across the street from me. I live in an apartment. I'd love to use it, but it's been broken for like 3 years.
Yeah.
ChargePoint doesn't care about it." And I respond, look, guys, there's not a lot ChargePoint can do because of their business model. They often sell the equipment to the site owner, and the site owner then it's their job to maintain it. They own the equipment.
Mhm.
You couldn't go and fix it if you wanted to because it's not yours. It's not your property. But could you talk a little bit about that business model as compared to some of the other CPOs that own and operate everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And I'll even touch on the point you were bringing up about, the difficulty in repairing a ChargePoint charger in some cases. But at a high level, we're not a ChargePoint operator. We don't buy and sell electricity that's, going into vehicles for a profit. Basically, anyone who does that, like the ones you mentioned, are all potential customers of ours. Our goal is to be an infrastructure provider that allows people that want to offer charging to somebody the ability to do that with what we believe is a best-in-class solution that serves a whole variety of use cases, whether that's public fast charging, home charging, private use cases, whatever that is. Our goal is really to help is to focus on building the best technology that allows everyone to do what they want to do with charging to achieve their business goals. In the case of a CPO, they want the most drivers to come to their stations and charge and sell the most electricity. You've got other CPOs, to use the term loosely, that may be associated with a big retail store or a shopping mall or a parking garage or whatever the case may be. And they want to do the same thing. They may have other motives beyond just selling electricity for a profit, but that the same point is that they're trying to get drivers to come charge at their place. And our goal, our reason to exist, is to help people that want to do that as good as they possibly can do it.
Yeah, I gotcha. And I think part of the confusion sometimes that people have is because you also have like the ChargePoint network. As you
Hmm.
mentioned earlier, you've got a million charge points on the ChargePoint network. You have the app. People activate charging sessions through the ChargePoint. They
Hmm.
assume that it's all your equipment, everything. Whereas if you sell chargers to some other network, some CPO operator that is putting, they then can install that equipment and use their native app to activate and charge people. So they will, the customer would obviously associate that name with the owner, not the
Hmm.
tag, the label on the side of the charger. But with a lot of your equipment, it's on the ChargePoint network, so people assume, well, ChargePoint's got to fix this thing. But it's I wish there was a way to better communicate that, because I get so many people asking me,
Yeah.
why do these charge why do it seems like more ChargePoint chargers are broken, and I have to explain to them, look, the it's not their, it's they don't own it, they sell it, it's up to the site owner. I know you have robust maintenance programs that people can sign up with, and then you'll automatically come out and fix it right if the charger sends a signal that it's down or whatever, but the customer has to pay for that.
Yeah, if they can buy, some of our extended warranty services where they pay for it up front, and it
Mhm.
quite frankly saves them a lot of money versus paying it for it on a repair by repair basis. And even without that, you've got a year warranty on all the hardware. But the focus on fixing broken chargers and improving network uptime is one of the biggest areas of investment that we make in this company. And I can go on for hours on all the different things we're doing in that area around monitoring the network. And then once we determine that there's a problem, getting out there and repairing it quickly with the site owner's permission. And quite honestly, it's very rare that you find a site owner that won't let you come repair their equipment. What usually happens is the site owner doesn't know it's broken, or they don't prioritize the fact that they've been told that it's broken by a tenant or a visitor to make time in their day to give us a call. So one of the areas where we're really investing is making it super easy for drivers to tell us about broken ChargePoint chargers. And they've always been able to do that by calling our support line, or there's a way to report it in our mobile app. But both of those approaches aren't as frictionless as we're going to make them. And what we need when we hear from a driver is just enough information to make it actionable. So if someone says, hey, the charger in Boston is broken, well, great. That's not going to help us much. The charger at the, Marriott Hotel in Boston is broken. Okay, well, there's maybe 20 chargers there. That's better, but it's still not actionable. All right, well, this exact charger at the Marriott Hotel is broken, but what's wrong with it? It may be just powered off as opposed to actually being broken. So coming up with ways to make it super easy for drivers who are very passionate, obviously, about broken chargers tell us about what's wrong with the charger and exactly where it is so we can action it is something we're going to be doing a lot of innovation around that whole idea here in the very near future, which, and again, I really love the community of EV drivers, and I appreciate the fact that they let us know through all kinds of different ways about broken chargers. And if we know, and we've got enough specificity to go fix it, and we can get the site host or the owner to allow us to do it, which they almost always do, we'll get out there and fix it.
Okay. Well, that's great. And listen, again, congratulations on reaching the 1 million charger milestone. That's really great. Keep going. And hopefully you'll add a zero to that sometime in the coming years soon. State of Charge is powered by CHAdeMO. After I've helped you decide which electric vehicle charging equipment you're going to buy, follow the link in the description of my videos and let the EV charging installation professionals at CHAdeMO install it. But let's pivot to probably biggest news as far as I'm concerned at a ChargePoint in a long time. And you always have a lot of news. And that's the introduction of a new integrated adapter to your public chargers called the Omni Port. Now, without going into great detail explaining what it is, there's a competitor out there that has something very similar. And I think by mentioning that, people will understand exactly what we're talking about. Tesla has a unit called the Magic Dock, which allows non-Tesla vehicles to charge at Tesla superchargers with an integrated adapter into the supercharger itself. What ChargePoint is introducing now is the opposite. They're integrating an adapter into the CCS1 stations that allow seamless use of vehicles with the NACS connector. And you've got a real interesting way of doing this. I believe it's automatic. If you enter what type of vehicle you have, when you pull up and swipe your app, the station automatically knows which connector you're going to need, and it'll either release the adapter or give you the straight out CCS1. So could you explain Omni Port to me? This seems to be a great technology moving forward. It'll eliminate people needing to carry these things around, which are the charging adapters that allow you to charge from AC and on also DC stations to NACS enabled vehicles. So let's have at it with Omni Port, Rick.
Well, you just described it very accurately, Tom. So thank you for doing that. And you've got it right. You've described the functionality. Some of the key features, again, the overriding kind of factor that drove us to do this is that we did not want to dedicate parking places to one connector type or another. The only thing we knew if we did that is you would get the ratio of vehicles to the ratio of connectors wrong. And you would end up underutilizing your site because you would have, too many cars with NACS ports that needed CCS ports or vice versa. So having the parking spaces be universal as we move through this transition to one standard connector type like they've got in Europe, don't dedicate a parking place to one type or another. The other thing we didn't want to do is add an additional cable, which I think some people, that's been the approach. Not only is that expensive, but I think we've all seen, some of the unfortunate news around cable cutting and vandalism. So, creating more, opportunity or more potential copper windfall by putting more cables on a station probably isn't what we want to do either. And the other thing is that our stations are really designed for all vehicle types, not just for Teslas. So our cables are long enough. We've got cable management kits that keep them off the ground. So, I'm an F-150 Lightning driver, and if I pull up to a supercharger site with my adapter, I'm taking up 2 spots because I can't get that short little cable into my port on the front left side of my vehicle without taking up 2 slots. So we've got all the advantages we've had in the past. And then with this Omni Port, we're now able to accommodate both NACS and CCS vehicles without having to worry about, getting the dedicated spots to one type or another to match the ratio of vehicles in the parking lot. So that's really the story. The other part of it is this relates back to the J1772 upgrade for the home charger, is we've made this because our designs are modular. We've done this in a way where if you're an existing station owner, it's very simple to upgrade your station to include the Omni Port functionality. And if you're buying new stations, we'll include that for free. It's no additional cost, compared to a station with NACS cables or CCS1 cables. So, or in the case of our AC product, a J70 to 1772. So again, the whole idea was to make this super easy as we move through this transition from CCS1 to NACS, that people just don't have to hassle with it.
Okay. So listen, I know that I read the press release that you provided to me a little bit early. And I know that it's going to be available for the CP6000, which is your level 2 public charger, and also the Express Power Plus, which are your DC fast chargers. What about ChargePoint Hom Flex? Are you going to offer a product like that for home users like Tesla has, which is right next to your ChargePoint Hom Flex, the Tesla Universal Connector? Are you going to make a product like that for home use?
Yeah, we've got plans to do that too. And again, the other key thing about this is the adapter. You don't want it to get stolen, right? I mean, this is easy thing to do. It's not, you held them up. They're not that big. If they were loose and available, they'd be easy to take. So one of the key things we did, and that we'll also do on the home charger, is we'll make sure that adapter stays captive if it's not necessary for the vehicle that you're driving.
Mhm. And well, that's how Tesla does it with their Magic Dock, both the public
Yep.
facing and in the universal. That's important. You're 100% right. And it also does something else, which you didn't mention. There's a lot of very low quality, unsafe third party adapters out there. So it's
Yes.
eliminating the need for somebody to go to, and we see this all too often. People go to Amazon and they'll click, NACS adapter and filter by lowest price. And boom, this one's $100 less than all the other ones. That's what I'm buying. Well,
Don't.
it has no thermal sensors, no safety. It hasn't been
Yep.
really fully vetted. You don't want that on your network, because when
No.
that thing melts, it's not only is it going to potentially damage the charge port of the vehicle or start a fire, but it's going to ruin your connector.
Yes.
And so now you're protecting your own equipment by having your own engineered adapter on there. So I think that's
That's fully UL approved. And for those that do buy adapters online, don't buy something that's not UL approved. The thing you'll see is UL compatible. Don't buy that. If it's not UL approved, don't buy it. That if it's UL approved, you will be safe. It will have passed, very stringent regulatory requirements around safety over various environmental conditions and charge currents and everything else. And obviously, everything we release is fully UL compliant.
So I know UL is still kind of massaging UL 2252, which is their new EV charging adapter certification. So I'm assuming you designed this to those standards, to UL
Exactly right.
2252 standards. Okay.
Yep.
I don't know if you're releasing this information or not, but I'm going to ask it. Do you know are you going to announce what the cost to upgrade a station? Let's say I had one, CP6000 dual head one, and I want to switch those over. Do you have a
I
ballpark?
don't have the pricing off the top of my head, but
Okay.
we can, AJ can get that for you, and we'll definitely have that available as they begin to ship.
Okay. How about CHAdeMO stations? I know that's being phased out, but I think a lot of your Power Plus
Hmm.
units have both, have a CHAdeMO and a CCS, correct?
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
how is that going to work? Will you still have a CHAdeMO and then the new Omni Port on the other side?
Yeah, you can do that if you want, or you can do two Omni ports, or you can do one NACS, one CCS, one NACS, one CHAdeMO. You can pretty much do whatever configuration you want. We have two on our Express Plus platform. We have two different dispenser models. One is and this is basically the unit that's in the parking lot that has the cables and the screen and the user interface on it. The one called the PL1000 is a sequential charging unit, which in that case, you can't have two vehicles come up and even though there's two cables on the unit, charge simultaneously. So they're, a CCS and a NACS, or a CCS and a CHAdeMO, or whatever configuration you want makes sense. But on our PL2000, there you can do simultaneous charging. So that's where ideally you may want an Omni port on both cables, so you're supporting both types of vehicles on both sides of that charger that work simultaneously.
Okay, great. So I know we're up against time here now. I've got you just about for your allotted time, but let's go over really quickly how you would use the adapter. I mentioned earlier that if you have a ChargePoint account and you've entered in what type of vehicle you have, when you arrive, tap your phone, it's going to give you the connector that you
Right.
need.
Mm-hmm.
But what if you don't have a ChargePoint account? I know you service customers. People can just roll
Sure.
up and pay with a credit card or something. How do they get the right connector?
You'll be prompted on the screen on the station to pick your connector type. Very intuitive, very easy to understand, even if you don't know the technical jargon of CCS1 versus NACS or whatever. It's very obvious. You've got a picture of what the connector looks like, and you tap your credit card, you tap the picture that looks like your connector, and you're good to go.
Okay. Well, now, Rick, one last question. When can we expect to see these Omni ports beginning to be installed?
Oh, they'll be shipping soon. I mean, we typically don't announce stuff that isn't ready to start getting out there in the real world. So they'll start to show up here and very quickly.
Okay. And customers that want to order CP6000s and Express Power Plus chargers, they can order them with these Omni ports. They could order them without any way they want. You'll custom configure
Exactly.
the station starting, now, I guess is what you're
You
saying.
got it. Exactly right, Tom.
That's great. Listen, Rick, congratulations. I think this is something that's going to help electric vehicle adoption. I said it about Tesla's Magic Dock. I thought it was a wonderful new advancement in charging technology because people don't want to have to carry these things around,
Yep.
and people don't want to buy them and worry about are they safe or not. And we've already had the networks come out and say we don't want you using these things because we haven't been able to check. We don't know which ones are good, which ones are unsafe. If you drop it, it might damage it, and then that could cause a problem. I love this integration and knowing that the built-in adapter was engineered to withstand the power that the station is delivering. It's built to UL standards, so forth and so on. So congratulations on Omni Port. I'm looking forward to using one. I'm going to have to find out from you guys when one's going to be installed in my area because I need to go out and make a video of one as soon as possible. So maybe I'll talk to Communicate ChargePoint Comms and
Sure.
figure out when there's going to be one in the ground so I can make a video. But listen, thanks again for coming on, and hopefully we'll have the opportunity to talk to you again sometime soon.
All right, Tom. Thanks for the time. Great to catch up with you. Take care.
Thanks, Rick.